because it is vector based. Right, so the toolbar again is this area to the left of your screen. Sometimes you can move it, and I can dock it and move it wherever I'd like to if I have dual screens going or whatever it may be. Maximize this program. Now what's introduced inside here is there's two different selection tools, and what that allows me to do is when I, let's say, draw a line, right, and on my line I can have points and I have the shape itself, right? So right now I'm going to go a step ahead because my line is not going to be colored. Color. Right there. There we go. Now it should be colored. So it's kind of thin. So I can change the value of that line, the thickness. We're going to talk about importance of thickness here. Once I give it a thickness, it'll give it a color. Right? But that line essentially has points and it has the shape itself. And that's true for all vector editing. So how I select those in Illustrator, excuse me, it's under this direct selection tool. And then I want you to start kind of getting used to this idea of keyboard shortcuts, right? So I'm going to show you a few times where this is at, but then from here on out I'm going to start just using A and moving a little bit quicker. So A is there, and you'll see, and this is the hardest thing to see, there's no way that I found to make this pretty, but you'll see that it's reporting back to me what the object is, and that's because it's becoming a live item. And it's an anchor point, right? So it's allowing me to select that point. Now the problem with the line tool, right, is I'm able to grab that point as much as I want and move it in space, and it's always going to connect that line. So that's one way to begin drawing it. But if I go to select it with the black arrow, which is V, right? So V, A. So V, cursor goes black, A goes white. Whoop, hit the wrong button. If I select that one, it's going to select just the whole entire thing, points and line together. Right? So you're going to be continuously switching back and forth. Now the next tool that you'll use for drawing operations a lot is the pen tool, and that's P. Right? So P. Now underneath the pen tool, each one of these tools, if you see an arrow next to it and I fly that out, I have add anchor point, delete anchor point, and convert anchor point. So this is now lending ourselves to be able to draw things on the fly. Pen tool is really nice because I don't have to tell Illustrator I want to draw a line. I don't have to tell Illustrator I want to draw a straight line. It's handled by the keyboard, and on the pen tool, I'm going to go ahead and just click and draw. And click and drag. So if I don't hold down anything, right, and it's just going to continue connecting that line for me, and they're straight lines. If I hold down shift, right, it's going to begin drawing arcs for me, right? Now those arcs are defined by what we call shape handles. So if I do my direct selection tool, again A on the keyboard, under direct selection, and I zoom in on one of those, what that is those handles allow me to adjust then that curvature of that line. And that's your basic kind of tools that I use for drawing. I mean, you shouldn't need too much more than that, at least at this stage of the game. There's obviously all kinds of different, I can draw, you know, polygons and all kinds of different things with this. And I can always go in and I should be able to, sometimes the polygons don't act nicely with this idea of editing, so we'll give it a shot here. Yeah, so even then, right, so I think of what I want and what object could facilitate that faster. There's nothing that says I couldn't have just drew the lines, right? So you have these, we call them primitives, right? Plato's primitives. You got the sphere, the cube, the tetrahedron. In 3D. In 2D, that's your square, rectangle, triangle, sphere, a circle, right? Okay. Basic things in every software that we draw in, it's going to have those basic items. The paintbrush, right, I don't necessarily use very much. Eraser I'll use sometimes. There are a couple other ones that we're going to go into